Since passing 40 years old, I've definitely noticed that recovery is a huge thing that slows down and is harder for me. I need more sleep. I need to take more easy days. I need to be more on top of my nutrition and that sort of thing. So I put it to Stu and Michelle to give us some of their top tips for what they think you need to do to enhance your recovery as an older athlete.
For me personally, recovery as I get older it just gets harder and harder, because I'm actually heading towards 50 now. And I remember when I was over 40 and I was like, oh my goodness, like this is definitely getting tougher. And I used to say to Stu, because he's 6 years behind me, like, you know, you wait till you get to like over 40 and you're like, oh, you always say this, but then now you're starting to realise it, aren't you?
Yeah.
That it is getting tougher. Like, you know, just when you're in your 20s, you can just bounce back session after session, whereas now it's like, we did a swim session the other day,
Yeah.
and it took me 2 days to recover from that. Well, for me personally, my training load, I'd have to be careful on the intensity side, but you need the intensity obviously to improve and to stay fast. So I would do usually, if I do an intense session, say on the legs, then I'd have an intense session on the arms the following day. And then I would take, for my next intense session, I would take at least 2 days in between, whereas before you could probably get away with it 1 day in between. Even 3 sometimes, depending on the particular session that you've done, because I find that it just takes a lot more out of you. And as a woman too, I mean, can I talk about menopause? I mean, you're going into menopause in your 50s, and I'll tell you what, it gets even worse because you get so much more tired. So you know, you start to, you know, obviously your hormones are changing, and that gets really, really tough. So, and all the females that I've coached in their sort of late 40s going into their 50s, it just gets really difficult to keep that intensity going. But you've really got to be very structured and very particular on where you place those sessions in the week. Although I don't do enough stretching, and I know that for a fact, and I should. And you definitely don't do enough stretching.
I don't do any stretching, and I need to do it. I just don't have time. It's like with sleeping.
It's
I'd
true.
love to have more sleep, but as you get older, you find you have less time to sleep because there's so much more going on.
Yeah.
And when you're a professional athlete, you have all the time in the world. But at the moment, you just got to just keep on top of your nutrition, hydrate, stretch, massage if you can. But
again, it's just finding the time.
Time in the day is difficult.
I'd love to have a nana nap if I could. If I can get a nana nap, I'll take it, because I love my sleep. But I think you should. Generally, I think we try to get at least 8 hours a night, don't we?
I don't know what from research says, but I think sleep is the #1 thing, because you can get good sleep in, you feel so much better in the day, you train better, you don't feel tired. That's my #1 thing. And unfortunately, as we do get older, we kind of have less sleep, so you've got more going on, but you've got to take time out to maybe sleep a bit more at night and try and get afternoon naps, or Michelle calls them nana naps.
Okay, so my top tip has actually changed. It used to be like, do your S&C, but now for me, as I'm getting older towards 50, I'm getting tighter and tighter, especially as you try and do more training, or you try to keep the training load quite high. So I would say stretching for me is definitely #1 tip.